Okay, so in part one, we're gonna see how you can raise your intrinsic value and actually raise your income. So the first thing is to invest in yourself. It's funny. Most people think that you learn at school and then you become a professional and that's it. And I don't know. I think that it's not very accurate. Like I learned so much after finishing school, and I was actually like so bored in school. Not because I was like super smart, because I don't know. I thought it was like some stuff that was imposed to you, and it was boring and it was horrible. And there is this quote by Jim Rohn that says, formal education will make you a living, self-education will make you a fortune. So, I mean, it's worth what it's worth. Jim Rohn was selling books. He might still be alive. Actually, I don't know. I might have read a book from him. I don't really know. But yeah, it's a nice quote. You have so many books, that you can read. And so how I found out about this is that when I started working as an employee, I read a book that was How to Win Friends and Influence People, and it's a very popular book. The title is a bit corny, but it's a short book, and it's great content. Like everyone should read it. Actually, like I believe that they should teach that stuff in school. Like it would take like 2 weeks, and yeah, kids would learn about this because it is so valuable. And what happened is that I was working as a systems and network engineer in a small web hosting company in Paris, and I was like arguing with the network administrator. He was like angry at me, and because of this book, like I used a couple of techniques on him, and it's crazy because it worked so well. Like I was walking past his desk, and I was like, "Oh, what are you up to?" And I could see he was surprised. So he was telling me about what he was working. I was showing interest to him, and yeah, little by little, like we became friends again. And yeah, I mean, he was preventing me from doing my work. I didn't have access to certain resources, so he gave me access. I was able to move on with my work. And I was like, okay, if I just read a short book and I had this kind of result, like what would happen if I keep reading about it? So then I read Influence by Cialdini, which is a great book about like psychology. Later, I read Predictably Irrational by Dan Ariely. It's a great book. Then you have, many books. I will give you like some resources, some books, that you can read. There is the Rich Dad Poor Dad. So I don't think it's an amazing book. I think it's okay. It's very basic, but I wanted to give you an example. Like my wife, she's Colombian, and her family is like middle class, okay, and her mom is very good with money, and it's impressive because she was like a secretary, right? Her husband got a better job, like he works with the government, but they're not like millionaires, far from it. And I'm always surprised because they manage to invest, travel, do many things. And I think she's really good with money. And the funny thing is that I was at my in-laws house, in Colombia, and I saw that they had a book from Robert Kiyosaki, the Rich Dad Poor Dad author, right? So again, there is no secret. Like if you teach yourself, then you're gonna get better at it. I mean, it's obvious, but it's important to state it again. So in business, a great book is The Automatic Customer by John Varilo. So John Varilo, he wrote a book that's called Build to Sell, which is a great book about like how to, because when you're an entrepreneur, you don't think about like selling your business. That's the mistake I made with my first business. I will tell you about it. But I was making money, but my business wasn't worth anything, right? So that's the issue he addresses in his book. And then he wrote The Automatic Customer about like creating some recurring revenue, which is maybe, you know, like the best business model. So it's a great book. There is The War of Art. It's a great book. It's very easy to read. It's very inspiring. That's an author that was like, when he was like 40 or 45, he was a complete failure. His wife had left him. He fell at writing, and he got a major success with a book, and he became a very successful author. And he wrote this book about like creating. So I put it in business because if you want to launch an online business, you have to start creating, and The War of Art is all about this, and it's very inspiring. Okay. So then you can read like some biographies of successful entrepreneurs, like the book on Elon Musk. It's great. The Everything Store about Amazon. There is a Shoe Dog about the Nike founder. Very inspiring book. There is Total Recall by Arnold Schwarzenegger, because, it's funny, when I was a kid, my mom was telling me, oh, this guy, is stupid, only muscles, and I read this book and I was like, wow, this guy is freaking amazing. He's so smart. Like when he became a famous actor, he was already a millionaire with real estate, right? So this guy, he's very smart, great guy. And then you have online courses. So you have many ways to learn, today with internet, there is like no excuse. So what you could do to raise your intrinsic value, and that was the first advice from the book I read, the small book about making more money, that was learn English, because like the author said, because like even like stupid people could do it, it's not that complicated. I was like, okay, why not? And I was so bad at languages. Like I hated languages at school. Like I was so bad. So I left university without being able to speak a word of English. So if you're an English speaker, okay, maybe it's less important, to learn a foreign language. But I've met so many times people telling me, oh, I wish I could learn French, and I'm like, just do it, because the truth is, it takes just like 5 to 10 minutes per day to learn a foreign language. So the mistake that you do when you want to learn a foreign language, like I see French people, they want to learn English. They're like, okay, I'm gonna start studying English 1 hour per day. That's what I did actually the first time I tried. So the first day, you might do like 40 to 50 minutes, and the second day, end of story, right? Because nobody can like study something for 1 hour. No way. So just try to do it like 5 to 10 minutes per day. That's my main advice, And with this exact method, I learned actually not one, not two, but three languages. I've learned English, then Spanish, and then Portuguese, which is very close to Spanish, but still you need to, work on it. So there is that book by Adam Scott that's very inspiring. It's called How to Fail at almost everything and Still Win Big. And in this book, he explained that he wasn't a great cartoonist, he wasn't a great whatever, but he had like some different skills, and the combinations of those three skills made him like a black sheep, make him like different, it made him stand apart from the crowd, so that's how he was able to be super successful with Dilbert, and you should always be wary about people, including myself, about people telling you, oh, I got successful this way, just do the same and you're going to be successful. No, maybe, and for sure there is a different strategy that's going to work for you, but it's always good to learn from other that who succeeded, because at least they succeeded, they have something to prove. So I think that his point was interesting. And you don't have to speak fluent French or fluent Chinese. The thing is, actually, like 20% of the words in any language are used 80% of the time. So by just learning 20% of the words, you can pretty much like have a conversation with someone, and of course, like, you're gonna be so much better than anyone who's never even tried to learn, right? So you don't have to be a master at it. You just have to be much better than 99% of the population. And this doesn't require actually so much work, okay? So the key is to find ways to make it fun, right? You can listen to music, you can watch movies, TV series with subtitles, and then without subtitles. If you have, I'm sure you have some favorite topics, maybe you like cars, travels, whatever, sports. Instead of, browsing and reading blog posts about this in your own language, well, you just do it in the language that you want to learn. Get interested in the culture. You can travel, you can find people to communicate with online for free. It's so easy with internet. You can hop on a Skype call or Zoom call, and make friends. You have websites. Internet, that's it's pretty insane what you can do. Again, 20% of the words are used 80% of the time. So if you always thought that you could use learning, I don't know, Spanish, Chinese, French, Italian, whatever, just know that it is absolutely possible to reach like a basic level with not so much work. Okay, so that was my advice. The second piece of advice is get out of your comfort zone. Okay, that's very important. Like, try new things. You might be surprised. It can be something as small as using a different route to go to a familiar destination, maybe going to work, trying a new dish at the restaurant, try a new activity, try to question your beliefs. I went to a Tony Robbins event once, so I'm not a Tony Robbins fan. I really respect his work. I think he's really good at what he does. It's just like not for me. But there was this very interesting part of the seminar where you write down your limiting beliefs and you work on them, because I think that we all have limiting beliefs, and you have at least to be aware that you do have these limiting beliefs to overcome them. It's a great start. So think about it, like, what are your beliefs? You might be surprised, so it's good to know that you have these mental barriers on yourself. And there is this piece of advice from Tony Robbins that's great. By moving away from your trajectory just a little bit every day, you can take a completely different route. Like, look at me, I got a degree, and I should have ended up in a corporate job, having, like a decent job, making decent money. But nothing to do with where I am at today. Okay, so the first step is to learn how to manage your personal finances. You should be able to save money each month. So there is this rule, in personal finance: pay yourself first. It means that when you get your salary, you should save a chunk of it right away. It means that, okay, this money is saved, and then I can spend all the money on my savings account. On my current account, and not worry about not saving money. So most of the people out there just cannot control their spending or their personal finances, and you can make a ton of money, and if you cannot keep it, you're gonna end up broke. Like, look at Mike Tyson. He's a famous example. I think he made over 100 millions in his career. So I don't think he's broke. When you look at his lifestyle, I'm pretty sure he still making a decent income from, the royalties and some stuff, because he was such a, so famous. But you see the point, you have so many professional athletes who end up broke after having made literally, a small fortune, like a few million or a few dozen $1,000,000. Okay, so learn how to save money. And it's easier to spend less than to earn more. Okay, you can start spending less right away. Whereas to earn more, it's a bit more tricky. Like, you start to make new things. So you should start with this. And I need to tell you about the power of compound interest. It's the fact that, so actually, if you have a business and you're growing by 6% month over month, after 1 year, your business hasn't grown by like 72%, like, 6 times 12, but by 100%. So if you want to double your business in revenue per year, you need to grow your business by 6% month over month, right? You can do the math. And the thing is, with compound interest, you win at the end. So there is this interesting fact, that I read about in a book recently. So if you fold the sheet of paper on itself 50 times, how thick will it be? So imagine, you fold a sheet of paper on itself 50 times, how thick would it be? Will it be like, 3 feet, one up to the ceiling, as big as a building? How big will it be? And actually, the answer is close to the distance from the Earth to the Sun. Okay, which is it's pretty surprising. But the fact is that because you're doubling each time, like, after having folded the sheet of paper 49 times, you're only halfway up to the sun, right? But when you fold it on itself again, then you get up to the sun, right? So it means that, the 2 last times you fold it on itself, you're gonna get the distance, like 3/4 of the distance from the Earth to the sun. Okay, so it shows you the power of the compound interest. And if you look at the rich people, you will see that most of the times they made 80% of their fortune in the last 20% of their life. So let's look at the classic Warren Buffett net worth over time chart, and you will see what I mean. So you see that when he was like 56, he had a net worth of like 1.4 billion, and at 83, so that's what's that, like 27 years later, his net worth is like 58 billions. And if you look at all the billionaires, you will see the same pattern where they made most of their money lately, in the last years. So that's a very interesting fact. It shows the power of the compound interest. But the downside is that the less you have, the more each dollar counts. So again, you need to take control of your personal finances, because when you don't have much, each dollar is worth so much. But the thing is, adversity forces you to come up with solutions. It's where, living creatures, we have the power to adapt. So when you're faced with, tough circumstances, you need to use this to get the best out of yourself and find solutions. You have to be smart. You have to take corners. So, we have a Netflix account and we share it with some family members. So they're street smart, because they're not paying Netflix and they're watching it because, we don't care about, it's like $10 per month. We don't care, but some people, for them, like in our family, $10, it's more money, to them. So, they're really, enjoy being able to watch Netflix for free. So it's the kind of thing, if you don't have much money, maybe you can, sell stuff on eBay. That's what I used to do when I was a student. I was selling my stuff. Today I have like 2 computers. One is like 1 year old, and I need to sell them, and I just don't take the time to sell them. And I have a ton of stuff, some gear that I could sell, and I just don't do it because, I have a better use of my time. So you have to be smart. You have to be careful with your money. You have to, take it as a game. It's like a game, and you need to find the solutions. One note, be careful of the classic quotes in personal finance. They always tell you, oh, if you invest $1,000 each month in the stock market, after 30 years, you'll have $1 million. And people are like, oh, okay, it's not bad. I mean, it's 30 years, it's not going to be tomorrow. So yes, it's true, but people compare $1,000 per month today with $1 million today. No. You have to take into account that, because of inflation, the value of the money goes down. So your $1 million 30 years from now is going to be worth a lot less than what you think. It could be, I don't know, it could be like, I'd say around, $660,000, give or take. But yeah. So it's just a note, because I see this quote all the time, and I always want to tell people, okay, it's true, but you need to you need to take into account the fact that $1 million 30 years from now is not going to be worth the same as today, okay? So, of course, to build wealth, you should buy assets that generate income. It's pretty much what the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad tells you to do. So save money, invest in assets that will generate income or appreciate over time, or both, even better, so it can be real estate, businesses, stocks. And again, I will tell you exactly, how I went from 0 to over 20 millions in net worth in this course. So you don't have to own your house, where you live. We've been renting with my wife for years, and instead of buying our house, we decided to invest in properties, and we did really well. So my advice for you would be to save a cushion, like 3 to 6 months of your current monthly income, so you can handle a setback or pay your bills while you launch a business. And it's funny because like 20 years ago, I was with a friend. We wanted to start a business online. Of course, we went nowhere. We didn't do much. We were just like students. And I remember that we actually talked about this. We said we want to save money so we can launch a business later. And when I launched my first business in Australia, I had a little bit over 15,000 euros. Okay, so like close to $20,000. And that's what I needed to launch my business. So yeah, try to save some money. That's very important. So now that you learn how to manage your personal finances, you should try to get a raise, increase your revenue. So if you have a paid job, if you're an employee, just make yourself indispensable. It's crazy. It's business, when you're an employee, you are just selling your time to this company, and you can make really good money, just like you can make very average money, in my company, some people are making a lot of money because they generate a lot of money, because they bring so much value to our company, okay? So one trick, one tip, I'd say better, it's to go work for another company. In my mind, I think it's easier to get another job that pays more than obtaining a pay raise at your current company. So you could try this, I would advise you to find small companies where you can stand out more and where you can easily make yourself more indispensable. Like avoid like the big companies, the big names like Coca-Cola. I mean, yes, you can make good money, but it's going to take you like, 10, 15, 20 years, and you have so many people competing. So try to go for, the small companies where you can take some responsibilities faster. Try maybe some startup, like our company. So we're growing by 100% year over year. At least that's what we did the last 3 years. Most of the big companies grow by 4 to 5% in revenue year over year. So when you work for a company like ours, you have so many more opportunities to take responsibility and bring more value. And believe me, it is very hard to find people like A players, like people you can rely on. It is very difficult. Okay, so if you're smart, if you do a good job, if you like question yourself, and and if you're critical about your abilities, because I can tell you that no one is going to show up. I mean, as a person who's hiring, people on a regular basis, I can tell you that no one is going to show up and tell me, hey, you know what, I'm pretty bad at what I do, but hey, I need to pay the bills, so just hire me. No, that's not the way it works. Like everyone's going to be like, hey, I'm perfectly able to do this job. And we did hire some terrible people, and not only do they bring very little value to our company, but when they leave, they make sure, they're quite rude, because you tell them, hey, this is not good, this is not good, and they don't question their work, so they take it like personally, and they hate you. So yeah, you can stand apart. I mean, it's not that hard. Just be smart, listen to the critics, try to get better, read these self-help books. I remember when I was an employee in that small company, I realized that some workers, they were like, oh, I'm never wrong, and these people, you could tell that they were absolutely not making any progress, right? So first you put yourself in question, you try to get better, and it starts by admitting that you're not perfect, you can make mistakes, and that's how you learn and grow. So no worries. So yeah, try to find some companies, small companies, where it's easier to stand out. Startups, companies growing fast, you will learn so much. You can look at some jobs like that. Like when I studied, I was doing some on-call duties. So my salary was like 1,200, 2,100 euros per month, which was like average. But then I was getting like extra hours plus on-call duties. So in total, when I was 24, I was making 3,000 euros per month, which was a really good salary at that time. I was feeling on top of the world, because I was doing this job where 1 week every 4 weeks I was on duty, and believe me, it was very hard. Luckily, I was young, because I would get called like several times per night. I had to wake up and solve an issue online, and sometimes, unfortunately, I had to take my car and drive for 15 minutes and go to the company to reboot a server, stuff like that. So yeah, it was hard, but I was making very good money. So when you're in this mindset, your job is to get a job, right? So you need to get better at getting a job, and a job that pays well. So look at opportunities in other companies. And a great piece of advice, so that's actually the second piece of advice that I got from that second-hand book, was if you work in a technical position, move to a sales position. Because, salespeople, they generate income, so it's quite straightforward to calculate their compensation for a company. And you can get a lot more money. And actually, in my web hosting company, like there was a sales guy that we knew was making a ton of money, and he was really good. So I moved to a sales position in a different company. So again, it's easier if you move to a different company. And it didn't work actually. Like I worked like crazy, and I made some sales, but I didn't like the company. It was, I don't know, it was not a good fit, and they let me go after, like 5 months, and that was a relief for me. So that's when I went to Australia and I started my first business. So, you know, to raise your value, you could learn another language. It could be useful. Like if you learn Spanish, and there are many companies in the US, working with the Spanish companies, and of course, like I guess you guys speak English, because it's like the language for business. But like being able to speak Spanish, it can give you an edge. It can allow you to get like closer to your suppliers, or to the person you're making business with. And again, it makes you stand apart from the crowd. Or you could just improve your English, right? Because believe me, when you look at social media, you realize that even though people have been to school for like 10, 15, 20 years sometimes, not so many can write perfect English, So yeah, that could be also something that you could look at. So something that you could do, it's also learn a high income skill. So there is copywriting. So there is a book that you can find online for free, the PDF, that's called Power Copywriting for the Internet by Rob Serling. It's the first book about copywriting that I read. Since then, I might have read like, I don't know, 20 of them. It's pretty much the same content in all of them, right? So again, it's like the 20-80 rule, like you read 20% of the books about copywriting, and 80% about copywriting. So copywriting is it's great. It's how to sell in writing, and it's obviously very, very important online. So you could do like high ticket closing. So that's something that we do as well in my company, because we sell online. We sell coaching programs, so we have high ticket closers. I learned myself how to sell on the phone when I started selling business coaching. That was back in 2014. Now I have some team members handling it for us, but yeah, you can make really good money, because you're literally generating sales and revenue for a company. All right. So something you could do, it's work as a marketing consultant, and you could be like, hey, but I don't know anything about marketing. Look, it's not rocket science. Like, I can give you some examples. Like we have actually two team members on our team who, one was a customer of my online courses. He started out as a customer support rep, okay, and then he was doing a great job. You knew you could count on him. He's a smart guy, so he started working as a coach, helping our customers one-on-one, to grow their business. And he was very successful at it, and he was making really good money. And his brother was like a virtual assistant for me for a couple of years. So, just doing some basic like technical manipulations with, our, pages and stuff. And he started working as a coach like a few months ago, and he's making 3,000 to 5,000 euros per month. And last month actually he made 10,000 euros. So yeah, you can make really good money. Like I personally was making 500 euros per hour as a marketing consultant, and I made up to 750 euros per hour. Okay. Recently, a guy from Portugal tried to close me recently for, I think it was like $6,000, and it was like 5 hours of work. I was like, dude, you live in Portugal, we live in the same country. Like the minimum salary is 600 euros here. Are you serious? And he was like, yeah, I'm a very ambitious guy, and I was like, yeah, it's great, good on you, but I don't want to pay for this. So I mean, yeah, when you're starting out, I mean, I think it's good. I don't think it was that good, but I think it is good. And I think he's making 20,000 euros per month, and I didn't think it was that good, but he's definitely good, and he's making a very good living out of it. So it's totally possible. And if you're starting out, well, just start studying. Like, it's not rocket science. You can learn about digital marketing in a few months, and you can start taking clients. And of course, at the beginning, you're gonna sell. So we have some courses about this. If you want to look into it, we have a course that's called the New System to Launch an Online Business, where I teach you that it's easier to actually start taking people on the phone and actually make some offers to them to validate your idea and start selling right away. And you can take on a customer to help him with this business for a small amount, like, okay, let's go for $200 per month for 1 hour per week, or 1 hour every 2 weeks. Okay, so you're gonna be paid $50 per hour or $100 per hour, and you tell him like it's for 6 months, and our goal is to double your business, right? So if he's making $1,000 per month, the goal is to take him to $2,000 per month. Okay, so instead of making $12,000 per year, he would make $24,000 per year. So he would make an extra $12,000 per year starting from this year. And if the investment is like 6 times $200, that's $1,200. So would you invest $1,200 to make 10 times more, which is $12,000? Hell yeah. So then you're gonna be like, hey, but I'm a beginner. Yeah, but again, start studying. And if you take a customer for $200 per month, I mean, you do your best. So a coach is not necessarily an expert. A coaching is a methodology that works on asking the right questions to your customer and helping him find the answer by himself. All right, you don't have to be an expert. Of course, if you have some expertise, you can. But so you see how very easily you can start making a living online, working as a marketing consultant. Okay, so these are ideas about what you can do. Also, of course, build your network. They say that your income is the average of your 5 closest friends. So again, that's the kind of stuff that you read online, and I'm always critic about everything I read. I think you should be too. You should question the status quo, question everything, question what I'm telling you, I might be wrong, So yeah, you should always question everything you read or see. So is it really because you're close friend, because you are close friends, that your income is related, or is it the other way around? Like people with the same level of income try to naturally, hang out in the same places, have the same social habits, So maybe it's actually the other way around, It's not because you're friends with people who make good money that you're gonna start making more money magically. But I don't think it's gonna hurt either, So yeah, either way, avoid people who will draw you back. Some people will be jealous. Some people want to understand that you want more, and there is a funny story. I have so there is a customer of System.io, a young French guy, is like 25. There are 2 guys, and actually they're doing like 100,000 euros per month in sales. They're selling online courses, which is huge. Okay, they're very successful. But 3 years ago, he was working as an engineer at Renault, the French cars. And it's funny. I can't believe it. Like one day, he showed me a message that a former colleague had sent to him, where basically he was telling my customer that he had let them down because he had left and he had built this online business. I was like, is this guy crazy? Like, are you his dad or what? Like, that's not your problem. It's crazy. So some people, they just don't understand. They're jealous. They want to, they feel that you might be getting more and they might feel bad about it, so they're trying to hold you down. So be very careful about it, because unfortunately it happens. And yeah, just make sure you have the right people around you, people who will inspire you. Like, because I'm doing well, when a friend of mine is doing well, I'm like super happy. So look at the people, if they're happy about it, changing and willing to change and making more and being more successful. And some people won't be happy because they will feel bad for themselves. So, just, don't try to change them, try to just put some distance, and you can still get in touch, but, you do your own thing, and you need to be, on your own. So, um, growing up, I didn't have any entrepreneur around myself. I didn't know any entrepreneurs. So when I started working and meeting people and like professionals, when I was meeting an entrepreneur, I would invite him in for a drink or for lunch. I would talk to him about his business. I would try to learn, and yeah, I think it's and I'm so surprised because I'm doing great, but very few people will meet me and ask about my business. Very few people are gonna be curious. Like, I remember we have some friends. We had our first baby pretty much at the same time, and we meet always for birthdays and stuff. And there is a friend of us, and she's working a job in a call center and studying. And we have some. She's Colombian, and like my wife, and we have some customers in Latin America, and with the System Notario. And it's funny because we were talking at a birthday, and I was like, "Oh, so you're studying and stuff?" So she was telling me it's very hard because they have a small kid, and she's studying. So she's studying because she hopes that she's gonna make more money. And she didn't ask anything about my business, even though she knows that I have a business online. That I don't know. I think she can guess that I'm doing well. And I was like, I can't believe it. She could have asked questions, like try to figure out if she could add value, because at that time we could have used like someone to handle customer support for Spanish speaking customers. But she didn't ask anything. She didn't care. I don't know. She was shy. I think she just didn't think about it. But for me, it's so obvious. When you have entrepreneurs around you, just ask questions about their business. Ask questions like, what are they struggling with right away, and see if you could add some value. It's so easy. So give first before asking for anything. Most people do the opposite. For example, in my business, we have a lot of free content to grow traffic. We give free coaching calls to sell our coaching programs. And when I approach someone, I look how I can add value to him before I ask for anything. For example, I might like promote them on my email list and then ask them to promote us in return. But just listening to someone gives them a lot of value, and anyone can do it if they want to. Like, everyone is talking about themselves and thinking about themselves. If you ask questions to someone, so first this person is gonna think that you're she's gonna enjoy it. That's one of the things you learn in the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And anyone can do it. You don't have to be an expert. It's like the coaching thing I told you about. You don't have to be an expert to be a good coach. You have to be a good listener. So you might want to read How to Win Friends and Influence People, Influenced by Cialdini. There is also the 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. And it's a pretty thick book. You don't have to read it entirely. You can just read the summaries at the beginning of each chapter. That's what I did. And, you're going to learn a lot. So now that you've seen how to raise your value, let's see how you can become an entrepreneur in part 2.